Honorable Men Discord. Memphis rapper Glorilla was arrested and posted bail. Let's talk about it.
How you see yourself is how you perceived. I see a man strong, gifted, head strapping, never down on his knees, begging. Gotta make a way, even in my darkest hour. Say the odds against me was new. I would never cower.
As always, welcome back to another episode. If you haven't already, hit the subscribe button, hit the like button, hit the notification button. Let's get straight to it. So recently, Memphis rapper Glorilla was arrested based on drug possession in her home. Now, the artist is claiming she wasn't home at the time, but the authorities sought out a warrant and checked her home and found some marijuana in her home. And due to the amount of the marijuana, she was arrested and she posted bail. But let's get straight to the news report if you're unfamiliar with the story, and we'll talk about it further.
In Memphis, this is News Channel 3 at 5.
First at 5 on your news leader, Memphis rapper Glorilla is arrested in Georgia just days before she's set to perform at her Glow Bash at FedEx Forum. Good evening, and thank you for joining us. I'm Stephanie Skurlock.
And I'm Greg Hirsch. She was arrested on drug charges. However, Glorilla's attorney says there's more to the story. WRG's Raven Copeland joins us now live from FedEx Forum. And Raven, fans are wondering if this will impact tomorrow's concert there.
Yeah, Greg and Stephanie, organizers tell WREG that the show will go on. Today, the FedEx Forum tweeted a ticket link for the Glow Bash, and they tweeted that out for people to buy more tickets. They said the tickets are still on sale, and that will happen tomorrow night at the FedEx Forum. Now, as fans prepare for the event, Glorilla, her attorney, and the community are reacting to her arrest in Georgia. Days before Glorilla is set to headline her inaugural Glow Bash at the FedEx Forum, she was arrested on drug charges in Forsyth County, Georgia. The Forsyth County Sheriff's Office says this all started in the overnight hours of Saturday, July 20th, when deputies responded to a burglary call at the rapper's home. The police report shows someone in the home fired shots at a group of people who broke in and stole items. The suspects were gone when deputies arrived, and during their investigation, deputies say they smelled illegal drugs. Deputies then executed a search warrant and found marijuana inside the master bedroom closet. They charged Glorilla, the homeowner, with felony marijuana possession and possession of Schedule I controlled substance.
If it was anybody else, if it was another Jane Doe, just because it's Glorilla, they make a big deal out of it. If it was Lakeisha down the street, it would have been nothing.
Glorilla's attorney, Marissa Goldberg, tells WREG that the rapper was out of town and her family was home at the time of the burglary. Your news leader went on Bill Street to hear what people have to say about her arrest.
I think that's the absolutely most craziest thing I've ever heard, because she wasn't there, first and foremost. Second of all, we don't necessarily know what happened in that situation. The robbers could have left that there. Anything could have happened.
She wasn't even there. So how do you know somebody that planted drugs? How do you know somebody in her family that had it? How do you know? It could be anything.
Now, Glorilla was released the same day on a $22,260 bond. And again, she is expected to perform tomorrow night at her Glow Bash at FedEx Forum. Now, she tweeted about her arrest and she said, long story short, my house gets invaded and I'm the only one that gets arrested. Now, Glorilla's attorney says that there have not been any arrest warrants in touch with that home invasion. And she went on to say that Glorilla is a victim, not a suspect. Reporting live from downtown Memphis for your news leader, Raven Copeland, WREG News Channel 3.
So, the news reporter was reading what Glorilla tweeted on X, and this is exactly how it went. So it says, crazy, my house got home invaded Saturday while I was in Indianapolis performing for the WNBA All-Star Game, and instead of focusing on finding the suspects, they focused on some cannabis. 1, so no, I wasn't busted. 2, my house got robbed. 3, I wasn't home. Long story short, my house gets home invaded, and I'm the only one that gets arrested. So that's T. Well, my first thoughts on this is, I don't know if it was just me or did we all hear that in lieu of the whole home invasion, shots were fired. So I guess her family, whoever was staying, watching the home, fired shots. So at that point, you know, everyone that was interviewed about their thoughts on Glorilla getting arrested, it changes things. Because if police respond to, you could call about a home invasion, but it's different if like you know you're the homeowner and you call the police because your alarm is going off. But then again, alarm companies usually automatically call the authorities. But let's just say, you know, you find out that your home is being robbed in addition to the alarm going off. So, you know, you make the phone call for the police officers as well as the alarm system notifies the police, right? That's one thing. But if it comes over the air, it could be from the neighbors or something like that, that, you know, they heard shots fired in that neighborhood. That turns into a completely different scenario. So those people that were interviewed that thought it was absurd that Glorilla was arrested, they're not understanding the scope of the whole story. It's not as simple as just saying that, oh, they found weed in her closet, because they're gonna do a thorough investigation at that point. Once it's been said that there was theft, they're gonna investigate what exactly was stolen. But then they also have to investigate the fact that shots were fired. So now they're gonna do a thorough search of the home. That's just what's gonna happen. They gotta figure out like where the suspects, where they make their entry into the home, if they even got inside the home. They gotta look at they gotta look at the perimeter, they gotta look at the interior of the home. So it's not just one of these things where I can't say the police officers were just looking for something to pin on Glorilla. You know, I think people being asked about their thoughts on this it's not fair to the whole situation in terms of what the law enforcement officers have to deal with when responding to something like that. And I'm not here to play sides on like, you know, I'm in support of Glorilla, in support of law enforcement. I just look at the whole picture as a whole and just don't jump to choosing sides in something like this. But once shots are fired, it's a completely, totally different scenario. I'm thinking this was one of those things where someone tried to break in, as mentioned, and then I guess Glorilla's family called her and whatever, however that transpired, and then she called the police officers and they came in and decided to just investigate in the home. But shots fired, that's something completely different. And I didn't realize that took place. But let me go into something else I have queued up, which is a gentleman who he's sharing his thoughts in this whole scenario. He's saying, I believe he lived in that area or lives in that area of Georgia. It's, let me see, Forsyth County, if I'm pronouncing it right. And let me see, I'm gonna make sure. And this is courtesy of Tim Buckley Fit. So let's hear what he has to say.
Reason Glorilla got locked up was not because she was in Forsyth County. Now, see, I've been staying in Forsyth County for over a decade. The reason why she got arrested was because they found plants in the crib. Now, somebody else had broke in and they heard a little ping, ping. They heard something pop off. Now, in these neighborhoods, I'm going to tell you right now, this is a family demographic area. These people trying to raise their kids, get their kids to school, and they trying to make it home safe. That's it. These neighborhoods around here are quiet. So if you got something going on that's a little bit loud, trust me, your neighbors are paying attention to what's going on and they see everything. Now, my thing is, if you got some plants in there and somebody tried to burglarize the home, that's just somebody that's already been to the house. Somebody that's already been to the house. But here's the thing. Forsyth County Police Department, they gonna put your ass underneath the jail. So you ain't got time to be playing around, especially with nothing illegal. Now, in this area, y'all know we got Lake Lanier. Y'all know that Oprah marched here. And Forsyth County has a little bit of history. So with Glorilla going through the situation and the attorney that she has, she should be good. She should be good. The fact that she wasn't there, I would question what type of operation is going on with the other people that's at the house. Just like Michael Vick didn't quite understand what was going on at that house when he wasn't there, and that ended up causing him problems with his career. Now, in Forsyth County, I can tell you that this area is a prominent area. This is an area where we are ranked in the nation for not just small businesses, but businesses in general. And also this area is ranked in the nation as one of the top places to live. This is where a lot of people come. A lot of famous people, a lot of rappers, a lot of entertainers actually have houses out here because of how quiet it is. So hopefully Glorilla is able to get through the situation. But I would say, look, I need to double check who is at my crib when I'm not there. Reason Glorilla got locked up.
Well said. And that's why I decided to play his clip. Because I went through a few other clips and they didn't have the insight or the knowledge of that area. And I just have to correct what I said earlier. It's Forsyth County. I pronounced it wrong earlier. But yeah, it makes a lot of sense. You know, in any neighborhood that's quiet, any type of new neighbors that bring in a certain type of energy, especially where the people who stayed in the home were involved in a situation that involved a gun being fired, the neighbors themselves are going to also make phone calls to the police officers like, what's going on? I heard some noise coming from the home across the street or the home beside me. You know, it's not the norm in those type of neighborhoods. So were the police officers in the right for arresting Glorilla and she wasn't there on site? I don't know. I don't know the laws out there. I can't say they were wrong. Is that something that I've heard before? I've never heard anything like that before, where you're not actually home, you're in a different state, and you get arrested because of something found in your home. You know, it's very vague, the information. But in any event, just know when you're in a quiet neighborhood, it's quiet for a reason. Those people who bought those expensive homes wanted to remain quiet. You come in with any type of energy, loud music, they're not going for it. All right. But as far as her being arrested, like I said, I never heard anything like that. I don't really have much thoughts on it. I need to hear more detail on that. The whole thing seems a little bizarre, and I can only imagine the amount of marijuana they found in the closet, because that also leads to why she would have been arrested. Because if it was a little bit, if it was like I guess a personal amount, I don't see her being arrested. So it had to be something that really made them say, oh no, the homeowner has to get arrested for this, you know. Unless family members were thrown under the bus. We don't know. We really don't know what took place in that home. It's very vague information, you know. So what's your thoughts on all of this? Clearly she has the money. She bailed herself out right away. She had a show at the time, which that show came and went at this point of posting this video. But I guess we'll see what's going to happen with this, you know. I know she has the funds to get a good attorney, but this is a very bizarre situation, you know. Very bizarre. But that's all I have on this, you know. It's like many other episodes where you just have to pay attention to it in the news, see if more updates pop up as far as, you know, what her lawyers are going to do in response to this, or if more information comes out through the news as far as if they find the people who tried to break into a home. But another thing, the gentleman that I queued up, another thing that he said, which was a good point, if she had some type of astronomical amount of weed in her closet, the only person that would know something like that to even want to try to break into a home would be someone that's been there before. Now, you might say, well, it could be somebody random. It could be random. If it's nice homes, you know, some people, you know, some criminals will canvas nice neighborhoods and just, it's almost like the luck of the draw. You know, they'll just choose a home and try to break into it. Could that be this situation? It can be. But there's also a possibility someone knew that was her home, meaning Glorilla, and they said, let's see what we can get from inside there, you know? But again, not enough information to really speak on it. But there you go. That's the mugshot. Glorilla was arrested. She posted bond. She performed at a concert. And I guess we just got to keep watch on what's to follow. But that's all I have on this episode. As always, I appreciate all of you for tuning in. I appreciate all of you that have already subscribed. Continue to support the channel. And I'll see you in the next episode. Take care.